Hey guys, welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. In this one we're going to be going over another pet project of mine and somebody that I really enjoy using, a commander called Elrohir. He is the brother of Arwen and Elladan and the son of Elrond. Elrohir is a T2 Elvish commander with a balanced title. I wish he had support, I think that'd be really cool, but we do still get +2 skill points and we get some other stuff here. So I have Elrohir at respect 10. I usually run him every single season since I've started using him in S4. I have invested into his unique, and I will get into why I've done that. The biggest reason I like to run Elrohir is because he can be used as a seasoned starter from the get-go. He has the War Chant tree. He shares that with Merry and Pippin. It's a pseudo version of the musician tree that Dwalin has and Ori has. It's just a very solid healing tree. It's got relief, which I usually start off with when I'm running a single unit stack, aka a mono stack. It has pretty solid healing. It's modifiable by focus. It's 2-round proc. His War Chant title is very solid. It affects all units, melee, ranged, etc., cavalry, blah, blah, blah. It does reduce, but that being said, it's sort of like Guide, but without the stun immunity. His other ability is called Level-Headed, affects all units, removes a debuff, and it offers a static heal. So between these two heals and the title, you do get a solid damage buff, and you get a cleanse as well. So I like that for starting out, and the nice thing is that it can be used in any and all faction, not unit type specific, so it allows you to start off with him anywhere. I typically skip his top R0. I'm not a huge fan of the title. I think the flanking is, once again, he's not really a damage dealing commander, and then to invest 14 points here to be able to put 7 into reinforcement when you have a better heal elsewhere just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Going into his R3, I think really gives him the ability to kind of like, I think he's very versatile with any troop race, but half elven is nice if you start in Linden or Lothlorien for a better damage buff. So once I would finish this tree, I would go into half elven immediately, because once you max this, it's about 10% damage bonus per elf unit, or obviously the other ability or the other bonuses if you use men. But I would arguably run him as probably 2 elven ranged units and 1 manish frontline. And then from there, I probably would not take Coalition. I generally take Boon, mainly because it increases his damage output, and I think that's very helpful as we are trying to do as much damage as possible. And he does have healing here, so we're getting, just to clarify, I typically go into half elven because of how much damage you can stack. You've got 30% from War Chant. At max level, you can get plus 10% per elfish troop. So if you run 3 elvish units, you're going to get 30% here. Boon is another perhaps 20%. It's a coin toss whether you get reduction or bonus. But if you look at 30% here, 30% here with the caveat is 3 elvish units, and then 15% here from loyal followers, you're looking at a 75% with a chance for 20% more damage bonus in the first 1 or 2 rounds, and then it ticks down a little bit, but this stays constant, and if you're lucky and you get damage bonus, that stays constant. His top R5 is really nice because this is just a permanent plus 15% at max level, and then if you do diversify the races you have, you get an additional 5% for each race. It's called Madness, so if you don't have a anti-madness helm or you choose not to run one, you can reduce damage taken. There's also shield training, which just reduces global damage, which is pretty nice. Minus 14% isn't bad. He's got a pretty solid tree. There's a lot of damage bonuses here. You can use them with the majority of the races present in factions. Like half elven is a good if you start Lothlorien, Linden, Arnor, Gondor, Rohan. If I was going to go Erebor, I would probably go War Chant tree and then go right into loyal followers for this, so it could actually activate on Dwarven units. How I keep him equipped is he can use anything pretty much. I mean, there is some equipment restrictions, but if you're running Elvish ranged, use Mirkwood Bow. If you're running Arnor, Gondor, Rohan, use Carver. If you're running, Dwarvish units, use a Cutlass or use a Warhammer. Big 3 are going to be Mirkwood Bow, Carver with Men Strength, Cutlass with Melee Might. Your equipment Once again, it depends. Arno, Rohan, Gondor, Erebor, you're going to run Scale Mail with Melee Vigor. Lothlorien or Linden, you're probably going to run Hunter Skin with Ranged Vigor. For his helmet, you can do plenty of options here. You can run Anti-Stun with Arnor Cask. You can run Hysteria with Trapper's Hood for your Lothlorien Linden. You can run him as a Cav Commander with Resolve. You can just about run anything to suit the need of the build you're using. So I think he's very versatile for that. His accessory, I found a lot of success with just simply Sustain Pipe. Granted, if you run into enemy units that cause you not to be able to heal, that kind of sucks. But I could get between 60 to 80,000 healing on a lot of battles with him with the Sustain Pipe. And I found that to be pretty strong personally. That being said, I did choose to go into his R10 item. I think his Eladris Quiver is actually pretty strong because it's, to my knowledge, the only Elven accessory that actually gives plus attack to elves. And it also gives plus defense to men, HP to dwarves, and the focus and speed isn't too bad. But on top of the actual solid stats here, his substat upon, pardon me here, we'll go back to this. His substat upon consecutive refinement gets pretty strong as well. Additionally, for just picking up the accessory, you get permanent madness immunity with dwarves. So this, if you ever play Erebor and you want to run him and you have his accessory, you could just use it at the base level and your dwarves get permanent madness immunity. So it actually is pretty strong if you want to use it early PvE, if you're fighting Saurons and Grimas. That being said, I do think he is better run as an Elvish commander, and that is just a nice benefit if you want to run in like Ram Riders as well. Closing thoughts on him, he's very versatile. He can be used from start to finish. And he does have some solid potential with his accessory. I do think the accessory is a bit of a whale's territory. I think you would almost get more benefit from a Sustain Pipe with increasing the amount of heals you're doing. I do think that he does need a bit of whale equipment to be able to survive fighting certain commanders. You know, he will, unless you always run an accessory, unless you always run a focus protection quilted armor, you're going to get chunked by Saurons. Unless you run a resistance piece gold equipment, you're going to get chunked by Witch Kings with burn damage. So he does have a lot of shortcomings, but that being said, he's usable from start to finish. He can be used in any faction, and he is quite enjoyable from a stepping outside of a meta or stepping outside of the same commanders you've used for 5 to 6 to 7 seasons. So I encourage people to try him out. I've enjoyed him. You know, I don't go looking for him to smash through 2 or 3 armies, but I do enjoy results, and I do enjoy having conversations with people where they're like, "Hey, I've never seen a Elrohir used before. You know, what do you like about him? What do you think about him?" I enjoy using other commanders and then having conversation with people. That just makes the game more fun. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.